Studio Gang was founded by Genie Gang in '97, and since then, so in the last 22 years, it has grown to a firm of 100 plus, about 125 architects, but also writers, some artists, so many collaborators. And we have, while having started in Chicago, now grown to actually 4 locations. Chicago is still the biggest one. Here we are about 85 people. We now also have an office in New York, as well as San Francisco and Paris at the same time. And what we are doing in all offices is we work on a range of typologies. So our work really spans the gamut from large-scale master planning work to small-scale exhibition work and anything in between. So the actual architecture projects also span a wide range of typologies. They include residential projects, they include cultural projects, institutional projects, and and anything that falls within these categories. So we work very hard. So I'm not going to lie about that. However, we actually take work-life balance very seriously, and we make sure that there are phases of intense work that are balanced with phases of more free time. So an example of that is summer Fridays. So we do summer hours between Memorial Day and Labor Day, so two big holidays that frame the summer in the US. And within that time, we enable everyone to take off the equivalent of a half day every Friday. But the way this is structured is free to the team. So you could take 3 to 4 days in a row, or you could do the whole summer just half a day. So it's very flexible. But what it means is it really gives this chance of just decompressing and enjoying the summer and giving a balance to a life balance to the work we do. We also have a family leave policy that is enabling the balance between family life and work as well, which is helping the very issue too. What we also do is every year we go as an entire office, meaning actually all offices come to Chicago, and we go on a 3-day retreat in Wisconsin. We go to this, what used to be a Boy Scout camp, and we hang out there. We take a few classes, so there's an opportunity to learn something new, but it's mostly that we all just hang out together, eat breakfast together, cook together. There's a beach, there's a campfire at night, and it is just a little vacation away from all of the hustle and bustle, but an amazing way just for people to connect, and also to connect across offices that might not know each other otherwise. So that is another really nice moment in the summer, just to decompress for a while and focus on really the social connections and not so much the work connections. Just stepping back a little bit, we moved into this building in 2015, and one of the first things Jeannie did was ask us all to just put a pin in the map of Chicago of where we live. And then it was very clear that most people live very close to this location actually. And so we wanted to stay in this neighborhood rather than moving downtown, or rather than moving into a more industrial area. We wanted to be in the neighborhood that's also convenient for a lot of people that live here already. So we found this building, which is the former Polish National Alliance building, built in 1937. And it was kind of the first stop for Polish immigrants moving to Chicago. So it offered services like bank and insurance and cultural resources, and it's a really beautiful, robust building. And when we moved in, we kept this really robust shell and structure. We got it landmarked also, and really took out all the partition walls and everything else that was built within the building after its original construction. And it really worked out well. So what we have now is pretty small individual desks, but then each team has a large project table, which is very close to where the teams are sitting, and that table has all the resources in it, models, of course all the project bibliography, binders, renderings, and a wall is associated with that. So it's all right there. And we are pretty nimble and flexible, so if someone is changing to another team, that person is physically relocating to the kind of project area of that team. So the teams have a pretty big chunk within the office, and it really helps the collaboration and working together. So when we work on historic reuse projects, it's a really fun process. And one example actually is the Beloit College Powerhouse, where we are converting what used to be a coal-burning power plant into a center for health and wellness for Beloit College. So it's an incredible transformation from something that is frankly polluting and has some negative aspects related to that, to something very positive, something that is bringing life to the city of Beloit and also the Beloit College campus. So for example, in the case of Beloit College Powerhouse, when we first went to visit the building, what was really stunning to us was that there was on the interior this amazing steel armature that was supporting all of the power generating equipment. And it occurred to us that the power generating equipment, a lot of that had to be removed. And we were able to use that steel armature, though, to insert into it the kind of fitness equipment that would become part of the Center for Health and Wellness. So there was so much opportunity within the existing historic structure that we could utilize to fill with new program that was maybe not initially even apparent. So for example, there's also this gantry crane structure, which could carry very heavy loads because of the gantry crane had to lift these really heavy weights. And we realized that structure is strong enough and has enough capacity to support a fitness track that we could run through the building. So there was so much opportunity almost for free that we could take advantage of. And so it is this method of discovery, of trying to find the potential within these historic structures that can be used for an entirely new purpose that makes these kind of projects so exciting. In terms of an ecological aspect, we seek for our work in cities to also be mindful of the ecological context the projects are located within. Our office is actually a great example. So we try to connect the experience of nature with the experience of the city. So it's trying to create as much habitat and therefore help to increase the biodiversity as we can with our projects, even if that's not part of the original brief. So of course, in the office there are the roof, which has the native prairie plantings, which has the beehives, and which we are studying very carefully each year to see how this aspect can increase the biodiversity. That's one example. Lincoln Park Zoo Pavilion is another example where we were initially asked to design a pavilion, but the project became much larger and it grew to include an ecological framework plan because we saw potential that adding this kind of scope to the project can make the quality of life for not just us, but many species much better actually. That's one example with, for example, high-rise projects. We are, because of the scale of the projects, we always seek to use them to not only think about the building itself and the inhabitants within the building, but also how the building touches the ground and can actually help to improve the neighborhood they're located within. So Vista is an example for that, where even though it's such an iconic building and seen from afar, we were very interested to see how it can contribute to the Lakeshore East neighborhood, and found a lot of opportunities whereby through the building we can create additional connections, connecting Lakeshore East Park and the Riverwalk, and kind of helping to stitch together the neighborhood. But also it goes to then the residents within the buildings. An example of that would be, well, Aqua or City Hyde Park, where we're really interested in creating social connections between the inhabitants of the building. So one of the criticisms of the high-rise topology is that it can feel alienating to people living within those, where everyone feels like they are kind of within their box and have a hard time connecting to the neighbors. But we are trying to break down these barriers by, for example, creating view connections on these outdoor spaces, balcony spaces, etc. So many different strategies. Those are a few examples, though.